Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Science of Superpowers. So glad you're joining us, especially for this episode as we kick off our celebration of Women's History Month. That's right. The Superpower Network celebrates Women's History Month and is proud to align with the 2023 theme of honoring the women who tell our stories. As more women endeavor to find their voices and share their experiences, we open pathways for others to follow. We love you, love each other. We are so excited about this month and sharing these stories, particularly what a phenomenal theme for us, right? We've been in podcasting for more than a minute, back to 2016, and we have many, 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 many episodes where women have been sharing their stories, and various stories, different stories, diverse stories, and the rich tapestry that's created here at the Superpower Network is tremendous, right? We can dive into all of the various layers and feel into them and see just what happens when we're willing to open up our perspectives, right? Like CEFA teaches us, expand our minds, soften our hearts a little bit, and receive people who are different, right? See the world differently, who appear different, right? Who walk the world differently, who maybe they think differently than we do. They might feel things differently than we do, right? This incredible richness of our own personal experiences that come when we open up to that of others. And that's an art, right? We're learning that art. And one of the easiest ways to step into that space is to listen to the stories others tell. Really listen with that expanded mind, with that open heart, that softened heart, as we hear, right? And let the richness of the stories and the experiences unfold. And so this month, we're going to talk all about the importance of telling our stories, finding our voices, right? What does it look like? What's responsibility look like when we're telling stories, right? What sort of worlds are we creating as we tell these stories? And so you can we're teasing a little bit about some of the topics we're going to be looking into. And it's all around this idea of what happens when every woman endeavors to know herself and share that with the world, right? That's a beautiful vision. So that's one that we're feeding into here at the Superpower Network, that we continue to fuel over at Superpower Experts in our body of work with the CEFA modality, changing the way we all live, right? If you want to do some of these advanced courses, some of the accelerated path at life, the superpowered existence, right? You got to be willing to kind of expand your mind and think about things differently. And so when we look at how we tell stories, we can vision forward into the power that they hold to create the world that we're actually stepping into, right? We love to talk about the world that we've experienced and have come from, but what about the stories that we're crafting about the world that we want to live in, right? Programming, this is how we learn, this is how we vision, this is how we dream and share with each other, like, hey, what if? And I know many, many, many of us are having conversations around, maybe we can envision a different world, right? Perhaps we can envision one where consideration and professionalism and courtesy and space and patience and grace are forward, right? Are present, so that we can listen, so we can have some conversations, so we can receive in ways that say, okay, I think I'm ready to see this reality that I've created for myself from a different perspective. And that takes incredible courage. We do that through our storytelling. We gain our courage through our storytelling, through finding ourselves in stories and other characters. And here's one of the little tricks that we use at Superpower Experts. If you want the accelerated path of development, imagine that you're all the characters always, right? Don't let yourself off the hook and only identify with the hero. Identify with the villain, right? And identify with all of the aspects that are being presented, because finding that within your personality, within your way of being, within your psyche, if you will, creates a richness of your own experience that you get to play with as you work with these creative concepts. And so opening ourselves up to find ourselves in each other and in the characters we create in our stories allow us to have this rich experience of life in multiple dimensions, right? Multiple layers all at the same time. No need to be bored. You can think creatively. And so we're going to take a quick break here. Before we do, get over to superpowerexperts.com if you want to know more about what I'm talking about. How do you walk in the world in a multidimensional existence, right? What do you mean superpowers? Like real superpowers? Like I can fly? Yeah, sometimes you feel like you are, right? When you're able to ride the frequency rate waves and sort of move in and out of different versions of your own reality and interact with different types of people who are speaking from different places, right? Material, virtual, vibrational, right? There are many, many, many planes that we exist in. And so having the ability to move amongst all of those becomes very powerful. And again, we do that through our storytelling. So get over to superpowerexperts.com. Check all of that out. We're going to be right back here talking more about the women who tell our stories as we celebrate Women's History Month here at Superpower Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Awesome. We're back. Thank you again for joining us. We're talking all about Women's History Month here, specifically women who tell our stories. You're listening to the Science of Superpowers. I am Tonya Dawn Recla. Thank you again for joining us. Before the break, we talked about the power of storytelling, not just to explain what's happened to us, right? What we've experienced, how we've come to be, but there's sort of this switch that happens when we're willing to step into the space of, okay, I am the way I am because these things have happened. However, how we choose to be creates what gets to happen next, right? And that's kind of a kicker. When do we make that switch? How do we make that switch into more of the forward thinking, right? To say how I choose to show up in this moment actually predicts, right? Influences the experiences I get to have next. It's weird because for the most part, as we're going through that prior phase of I am this way because this happened to me, we're in a recollection, sort of deconstruction phase of figuring things out. In that place, right, the thinking is really, these things happen to me and this is how I respond. When we flip that frame to, okay, if I choose how I'm expressing in this moment, I can influence the experience that I'm having in the next. Well, it starts to put storytelling, right? Programming, broadcasting, media, social media, news stories, right? It starts to right here, you're putting it together, right? We don't have to dive too deeply. We don't have to piece it together on the surface because we start to feel that those are all connected, right? If we're always talking about how we got here, right? I am this way because these things happen. This just happened. This just happened. This just happened. And what we're talking about is what creates the world that we're getting ready to step into. It seems like a little bit of a loop. So what we can do from a really creative perspective is do it all, right? Loop in, I am this way because of the things that have happened, and incorporate, and I'm choosing to integrate that and express this way because I choose the influence that I have on what comes next. We're always influencing it. We're either influencing it from that lens that I spoke to, that reflective lens, a looking back lens, that clearing up life review lens, right? Or we're looking forward at what am I creating next, right? And how am I choosing to show up in my expression mentally, emotionally, physically, vibrationally that impacts the world and how it receives me and everyone in it. And those are the little tricks that we work at Superpower Experts, right? Definitely a superpowered existence because we're essentially saying you get to inform what comes next. What world we step into next is up to all of us. We all get to, it's a conceptualized reality. What do we want to see, right? It's like a popular vote. It's the coolest popular voting system out there, right? Is the universal field. It's like, what do we want to see? What are we voting for with our energetics? Right? It goes way beyond what are we buying in the supermarket, right? Where are we putting our money? What are we energetically fueling? That's our creative expression. What are we going into agreement with that we don't even realize we're agreeing with, right? And we see that in our stories as we start to look at layers of stories. So I'm really excited about this month as we talk to women who have been telling stories in all different ways, right? We tell stories through writing, right? Through books. We tell it through documenting, through series, through science. We tell it through our languaging. We tell it through the things that we focus on. We tell it through the things we create. What do we teach our children? Right? We're always telling a story about what we believe about ourselves and what we believe about the world in front of us. And this is our opportunity to say, wow, what if we choose to be consciously aware of that and intentionally create forward? So we intentionally include in our stories visions of the worlds we want to see. as we're cleaning up and integrating that which we've seen and experienced. So it brings another level of our existence into form and reminds us that we're incredibly creative beings on purpose, right? We create all the time. If we create intentionally, then we get to have a richer experience with what transpires from that creation. Sort of like staying awake for the ride, right? It's learning how to ride the waves. It's being present for the transitions. It's seeing creation in action. It's watching the subtle energetic waves move under the surface while everyone else is watching the fireworks on top, right? It's that undertow. It's being able to dance in the shadows and see really the true nature of creation. And through our women, particularly our women storytellers, those who are willing to say, this is me. This is my expression. This is who I am, right? So that inspires me as I wrap up this episode. I didn't know I was going to do this, but I'm going to do this. So in honor of that, I'm going to share one of my creative expressions. It's a poem that I wrote called I'm a Little Teapot. And it goes like this. Ready? I'm a little teapot, no longer short and stout. I became the heat and the steam, then burst from inside out. I'm a little teapot. Here's my handle made to hold. It broke apart right at the start, but that story lies untold. I'm a little teapot. My spout is long gone too. Leave it to fate. It wasn't that great, so I opted for something new. I'm a little teapot. I swallowed the hopeless shout. It plotted and writhed and fought inside, then finally wore itself out. I'm a little teapot who learned to become the steam. With a twist and twirl, I travel the worlds, dancing in the spaces between. I'm a little teapot. About that, there is no doubt. My deep waters flow beyond the unknown. Just try to pour me out. I'm a little teapot watching high up on the shelf. I've seen one is done when we wait for one to come. So I think I'll tip me over myself. Thank you all. Go to superpowerexperts.com to find out more there. I'm going to sign off now before it registers that just happened. Love you all. Connect in with each other and find your voice and share it creatively. Express, create your existence, and let's see what's possible moving forward. We love you all. Love each other. Goodbye for now.